Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining me. My name is Rowana, and I've been working on my tarot in action business for the last 30 years. Can't believe how time flies when you're having fun. But anyway, I've decided to record this presentation because I prepared it for the Tarot Guild of Australia in 2023. And they recorded it, but somewhere along the line, the video went missing. And it's only taken me 2 years because we're now in 2025 to work out, hang on, I can record the whole presentation and load it up on my YouTube channel and on my website for everyone to see. So 2023 was an interesting year. We were just coming out of lockdowns and mental stress was a big issue. It still is today. I think through COVID, it really highlighted how uh, big of an issue it is. So I decided to explore the Swords Tarot suit to unravel the mental conflicts of burnout issues. And so here we are. Let me share the PowerPoint presentation that I created for the event, and we can follow through it together. So slideshow from this current slide. Yep, there it is. Let me put myself up in the corner. So exploring the Swords Tarot suit to unravel mental conflicts and burnout issues. So thank you for watching. Can't believe it's taken me 2 years to work this out. So here I am. This is my little tarot shop in Moonee Ponds. You can see my cat Zachary sitting in the front window. That's one of my favourite quotes from William Shakespeare. All the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. There's a bit more to it, but that's all I could fit there. And in fact, I really believe that we're all given a script, and if you don't like the script and the play that you're running, change the script. And the door is actually painted by an artist, and it is a picture of the world card as well. And I cannot remember what the tarot suit of that uh, world card is, but you can see all the beautiful different worlds there, planets on the door. This was a little business that I ran. After becoming a professional member of the Tarot Guild, I started to do lots of markets, and I printed up these t-shirts, just black on white and white on black, short sleeves and long sleeves. The long sleeves had a bit of a nice collar. I still have some today, not many, but pretty much sold them all. I used to sell like the High Priestess and the star cards to like crystal shops and fairy shops, whereas the t-shirts with like the Hermit or Death, I sold in like t-shirt places. There was a really cool t-shirt place in Brunswick called Polyester Shop, and they had so many t-shirts. Anyway, that was fun. Oh, this is when the Tarot Guild did a trip to Uluru, and Rachel Pollock was here because the Tarot Guild ran a tarot conference in 2008, and after the conference, there was 22 of us, which is exactly like the 22 major arcana. I thought that was magical. Went up to Uluru and we did some sightseeing up there. We walked around the Uluru all together. It was a wonderful experience. And the 8th of the 8th, oh 08, like what an auspicious day that was. And I also remember the Chinese Olympics started at 8 minutes past 8 on the 8th of the 8th, oh 08. So very auspicious indeed. All right, so let's start working through the cards. So mental conflicts and burnout issues. So a bit of research first. Um, we'll go through the sword suit, and there's a spread that I will leave you with at the end. Um, Also, let me see what else I have to mention here. It is important to approach tarot readings with an open mind and a willingness to engage with symbols and messages presented in the cards. By working with the swords suit, we can gain a deeper understanding of our mental state and develop strategies for dealing with stress and mental health issues. I really believe that the swords give us answers, and if and if swords rule the mind, the air, the ideas, decisions, mental capacities, then I truly believe they can give us an answer to work through these mental issues. Um, so there was a report that I reviewed. Let me find the page where I'm up to. All right, so the CDC stands for Center for Disease Control. And they said that 3 in 5 teenage girls reported feeling sad or hopeless versus 36% in 2011. Highest levels in the past decade have experienced feeling sad or hopeless. So the CDC is set up to improve Australia's ongoing response to these current trends or emergencies even. And over the last few years, Australia's health system has had to respond to several public health emergencies. And one of them is on burnout, whether that burnout is mental, spiritual, or emotional. And so a question you may like to consider here is, how long does it take for you to realize you are suffering from burnout? I remember at the time the New Zealand Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, when she resigned, she said there was not enough fuel in her tank. This is burnout when she stepped down as the president. And the Professor Gordon Parker from Black Dog Institute reports the WHO, United Health Organization, says burnout in the workplace has 3 conditions. They are not a psychiatric condition. 1 is exhaustion, 2 is the loss of empathy, and 3 is a decreased work performance. And this one may also be a consequence of the first 2 as well. He also mentions that cognitive impairment is suggested to be similar to baby brain when one cannot retain information. Many reports of high exhaustion, insomnia is also a result, to the point where one cannot get out of bed even. Blood pressure drops, the individual just cannot bring anything to the table. This burnout and exhaustion affects many normal people today. People like doctors, nurses, teachers, and clergy people as well. People seem okay to talk about it, but when they get asked questions like, is it your fault? People seem to accept burnout and are willing to discuss this more so than discussing depression. Hospital staff working under tremendous conditions, like during the COVID times, have quit their jobs. They've reported that they feel better for leaving the stressful environment, but the loss of deaths still affects them today. This is really, really sad. And yes, I'm sure we've all heard stories of nurses quitting their jobs. Now, I want to touch on my Taekwondo practice here. I want because my background is Taekwondo, and I did it for a few good years, and achieved 2 different belt levels in martial arts, Taekwondo and in Kishu Jitsu. I was an instructor and wanted to bring this training of thought here today. When we started training, we would always start with that basic training exercises. I'm sure you've seen the pictures of people all in rows, and they're all punching and practicing kicks. So it was good to, those basic drills help to warm up the body, focus the mind, which is important for martial arts practice. And by going through the various punches, strikes, kicks, students improve their techniques, their speed and accuracy as well. This repetition also helps to build muscle memory so that when the movements became second to nature and can be executed quickly and efficiently. Push-ups are also a great way to build upper body strength. It helps to strengthen the chest, shoulders, arms, core muscles, which can improve punching power and overall physical fitness. Overall, starting a Taekwondo class with basic training exercises is an effective way to improve technique, build strength, endurance, and prepare the mind and body for the rest of the class. With tarot, it's fun to learn all the numerous spreads and explore another new tarot deck. But I believe going through the basics is like going through to this basic training exercise. This is what we're going to give you. This is what's going to give you more depth and meaning in your readings. Remember those bits of fabulous information you have forgotten about? The everyday homework I give my students is a simple technique. Just pick a card, a tarot card each day, and write about it and journal it. Jot down insights, particular experiences with the card, connections, research it, Google it, explore that energy for the day and see what comes through. This is like basic training. Coming along to, going to meetings, tarot practice sessions is also another way to do this basic training. It's important to have a strong foundation and understand of the basics in anything we do, including tarot. It allows us to build a strong framework for our knowledge and skills and to have a deeper understanding of the more advanced concepts and techniques. It's always good to go back to the basics and reinforce our understanding of the fundamental principles, even as we experiment with new spreads and tarot decks. It's also a lovely way to meet people. When you do classes, we learn from each other. We pick up more distinctions. That's one of the reasons why I call my book Tarot Distinctions. It's, making those finer insights. Tarot is about giving us answers. And when we have a question or are in a dilemma and don't know which way to go, this is the best time to go for a tarot reading and consult the cards. Therefore, I believe the answers to healing our mental health, disorders, conflicts should also be found in the tarot. Yet, it's important to understand that while tarot can be a helpful tool for gaining insights and perspectives, it is not a substitute for professional medical or therapeutic treatment for medical disorders. Tarot can provide guidance and support, but it should not be relied upon as a sole solution to mental health issues. It's essential to seek the advice and guidance of licensed professionals who are trained to provide the appropriate care and support for those struggling with mental health challenges. Tarot can be a complementary practice to traditional therapy, but it should never replace it. Thank you. All right, let's work through the tarot, the Swords Tarot suit, our mental conflict energy. Now, I do touch on numerology. In my classes, I also touch on astrology and mythology and symbology and psychology. But for the purpose of this presentation, we're going to look at the number and then the card. So let me see here. So the number 2. So the number 2 is associated with concepts of choice and balance. It represents harmony, words like understanding, equality, sharing mentality, being fair. It connects us to that high priestess, the duality number. So overall can be seen as a number of harmony and equilibrium and reminding us to consider both sides of a situation and make choices to promote balance and fairness in our lives. And then when we look at the 2 of Swords, we see here a woman sitting with 2 swords. She's blindfolded. There's a river, there's water behind her. She's sitting in front of that water. Some themes here include decision-making, balance, and maybe inner conflict. The blindfold represents not that she doesn't want to see, that can be like the shadow side of this card, but the it's more that she's turned off, switched off from the outer world to go within, to see what she has to say. The swords could represent a potential conflict or a difficult decision maybe that needs to be made, but she needs to feel balanced within herself to then be able to come out and make those decisions. Her posture and position can also be interpreted in different ways. Some see her as frozen in a decision. Others may see her as taking a moment to weigh up her options before making a choice. Maybe she's meditating on it before becoming mindful of a missing piece. So it's also interesting that the swords are the same height and the tips of the sword are not in the picture. So it suggests that this idea is just as good as that idea. And she's just sitting with it. I love that she's wearing white, sitting on a grey stool. There's the grey stable section underneath her feet. And her shoes are yellow, so that's highlighted. Grey is the color of wisdom, and so she's checking in with her own inner wisdom. And the yellow connects us to knowledge and ideas as well. And I love that the bottom of the foot is the soul. So maybe she's connecting inwardly with her soul before she makes a decision. Now she's got her back to the water, so it suggests she's not emotionally involved here. And you can see that the mountains are orange in color. So, and the moon to me is like showing the last quarter moon. So it's like she's just about to come out. She's been sitting there for a while with this decision, and she's about to come out because the sun is about to rise over the horizon and make her decision. This card also connects me beautifully with the High Priestess card. We've got the number 2, we've got the 2 swords instead of the 2 pillars. Here she's blindfolded, where with the High Priestess, she's got the veil sitting behind her, the color blue, wearing white, the water, like she's connecting inwardly with her inner wisdom, her High Priestess, her inner tuition to then come out and make the right decision. So, something about taking your time to sit with things before, you don't have to like quickly snap your fingers and make decisions about things. So that's a big clue there. The number 3. So number 3 is about fertility. I always think of, you put 2 things together, they always make a third. So it's very creative. There's a lot of potential here, opportunity. We're looking at abundance. It does connect with the Empress card, and she's very lush and vibrant, and she's always giving birth to something. So 3 is a wonderful number of growth and potential. And with the 3 of Swords, so here we have 3 swords in a heart, and a lot of people always gasp when they see this card, or they, are very wary of it. But it's interesting, in this deck, there's no blood showing here. And the swords look like they've been in that heart for a very long time, because the tips of the swords are blunt and discolored. And the number 3 may give us a clue that maybe, you've been through this heartache 3 times, maybe 3 different people, maybe the same person doing it to you 3 times, maybe 3 years, maybe 3 stages in your life. Like it could indicate that. There's 2 different colored grays here as well. We've got the fluffy gray cloud up the top, which to me always symbolizes something symbolic, like a symbolic thought, an idea. But then the darker gray in the background with the rain, to me, is like sadness, or hurt, pain. We could have tears here. But also rain and tears are symbolic of letting go of something. Um, I always think of three strikes and you're out, because if three is that number of growth and potentiality, then here it's like you've experienced something three times and you've finally woken up to it. I always use the example here of, maybe when you were a baby, your father abandoned you. So but as a baby, what do you understand abandonment to be? And then as a teenager, maybe your boyfriend abandons you. But as a teenager, what do you understand abandonment to be? And then, maybe as a married couple, your husband or wife abandons you. And but as an adult, you have a better understanding of this abandonment, and maybe it's taken you till you are an adult to finally clear, heal, and let go of this abandonment issue and break through from it. So there is growth through a pain here. And sometimes us humans, we learn the hard way. And there's always some mental stress or mental worry that we go through, and this is symbolic of the swords in the heart, because it's the head and the heart that are clashing or having trouble working through something here. But if working through it helps us to have a breakthrough, and then those tears can wash that pain away. So yeah, the pain's been here a long time, and remember also that people can hold on to pain for a long time, because friends come and go, but that pain is always there. But once you realize that, you have an opportunity to clear it and heal with it and grow from it as well. All right, number four. Four, very much that emperor energy, the four legs of a table symbolizing stability, boundaries, strong foundations, law, order, systems, organized, being in control. It's very much a number of law and order, so to speak. With the Four of Swords, this sword card is asking us to lay our sword to rest. And you can see the underlying problem, the sword laying down underneath the sarcophagus. It looks like a sarcophagus. And then three swords are hung up on the wall as if they're hung up on a hat rack. And I love that the sarcophagus is gold in color, because gold connects us to the divine, the source. And we've got a figure here with their hands together as if they're praying or keeping the hope and faith. And laying down your worries to rest. So it's important for us to have this time out. Thank God we have a weekend. I always love my weekends, my precious time out. Just the Sunday alone is a very calm day, peaceful day. But we also hear people having, holidays or, retreats of some sort, a detox of some sort, where they go to Byron Bay or Bali. Um, but, laying down your worry to rest. And, four is about creating that order and that stability in your life once again. And when you look down, when you lay down, you look up and you see this beautiful window, stained glass window. To me, stained glass windows and rainbows, you look up and you see these beautiful colors. They represent this brightness of the future, or a way through the situation. And in the stained glass window, you can see a priest is giving communion to someone in front of them. So it's like looking up, having faith, connecting with soul, connecting with spirit, connecting with your faith, and having that time out. Just hang up your swords. When we go on a holiday, we do the things we can do, and then we, put things in the to-do file. Like I'll handle that when I get back. That's what those three swords hanging up there represent. And having some time out. If you don't have that time out, you'll get sick, and it's like you'll be forced to have that time out. So during our mental stresses, we need these times out to just lay that sword to rest, that worry to rest. Number five. So five is that halfway mark, and it's that number of change. Um, I always think of freedom, um, uh, an upgrade of some sort, like when you have to upgrade your computer, there's a change there. Um, but it's also, we need change, otherwise things become stale and crack. So change is as good as a holiday, as they say. Now, five, so here we have change in that mental conflict area, because swords represent the mind and the air. And we've got the classic triangle happening here. We've got the persecutor, we've got the rescuer, and then we've got the victim crying by the water. Um, there's so many different ways of looking at this card. You'll probably do the reading for the someone who's crying by the water. They feel deflated, they feel hopeless, they feel, persecuted even. The rescuer, I love that he's wearing the white boots. He's neutral, and he's thrown his sword down in disgust, and he's going down to console the one who's crying by the river, the water. And the person up front, well, I mean, he looks like a bit of a hothead, doesn't he? And, normally we have white as underlying clothes, but here he's wearing red, which suggests he has an agenda, or, has desires for something, maybe collecting swords. Um, but he's not using the swords to attack. But having three swords is being overarmed, as they say. You only need one sword to hurt someone. He's got three swords. So he's got a lot of power here. The green, normally the color green is like that fertile, um, fruitful color, living, growing color. But here, with that sneery look on his face, and the underlying desires, that green to me is like green with envy or jealousy or entitlement, as I would say today. The clouds look ominous. They look very shark-like as well. So you're dealing here. You've got a fight on your hands here. And that five suggests you need to maybe fight for your change, or you have to make a stand for what you believe in. But whichever way, you've got to fight. You have to fight for yourself here. You have to stand in your power. You have to stand up to this. So stand up to the mental issues, stand up to whatever decision we have to make. Another way of looking at this card could be like a manager has to say to a couple of his staff that they've been, been given a package to leave. And it can be upsetting for those receiving the packages. Maybe someone wants a package, and it can be really hard for the manager to say that to people. So, just to it's not just an aggressive card here, but there's like a decision needs to be made, and it's not a nice decision, and we don't like change, as well, but change is as good as a holiday, as they say. So maybe it's interesting, because I've also had many clients that they were surprised that they were let go of their job, but I find deep down they really wanted to leave, but they never did anything to follow through with that, and so it sort of works out in this way. Here's trouble. Here's Zachary to say hello. So yeah, so deep down they really wanted to leave, but they never did anything. But maybe an issue or a problem. Say hello. Hello. Okay, good boy. Um, Arose in the workplace, and then it was okay to leave, or it forced your hand to leave. So But if it is that, going back to the mental issues and stress and burnout, we have to make some changes that may not be pleasant, but change is what number 5 is telling us that we need to do. The number 6, I always like to call it the peacemaker number. 6 is about harmony after the change, restoring the calm, bringing back the harmony, the balance, and then protecting that harmony and balance. We've learnt, and we've had to learn to protect that harmony. So here is a nice follow on to the 5 of Swords. We can see the grief, the mental stress is still happening. And I really like that you can see where they're heading to the safety of the mainland on the other side. And the water represents emotions, grieving, mourning even. And you can see the turbulent water on the right side, and they're like moving away from that. And there's this much bigger, calmer water and so they're working through that grief to get to the other side. And there's no motor here. There's no quick way of working through this. It's manual labor. You can see the man, he represents the present. He's doing that manual labor, pushing that boat through the quagmire. The man represents the present. The woman represents the past. So she's totally consumed. She's got the shawl over her head. She feels the pain. And the child here, wearing violet, the color of spirituality and hope and higher vibration, represents the future. So maybe he's the one that's going to resolve the issues, or there is a new beginning, a new opportunity to let go of the pain and the woes and the worry and the stress. I often link this card to the death card, because in the death card, you have the king dead on this side of the river, and there's this river. You see little boats on the river, and then you've got the other side where the sun shines. And that river is called River Styx. It is the river of grieving and mourning, and we have to work, pay the ferryman to get us across to the other side. So is this family or is this mother and child moving towards better times? Absolutely. The number 6 is all about restoring that harmony and bringing back that peace, but they have to work through. It's a slow process. People grieve for as long as they're going to grieve for. Another way of looking at this card, if you pull out all the 6 swords at once, the boat will sink. So it's about pulling out one sword at a time, patching that up, and then you're ready to pull the next sword out. Give it the time it needs to work through this. We're all different. We're all going to work through issues in our own time, but we're heading in the right direction with this card. Number 7. So 7 is the number of reassessment. So, it's a very introspective energy. I always think of 7 as God's number, because on the 7th day he rested and he reflected on what he did. So it's a very insular number, but mentally analyzing or internal assessing things. So there's a time in our journey that we need to think, rethink, reevaluate, reassess, research even. And then we have the 7 of Swords. So now you could say he has mentally reassessed the situation here, because he's only taken 5 swords. He hasn't taken all 7 swords. He's left 2 behind. And where he's standing, it's that solid ground. But where all the tents are and the people huddled in the background there, it's all uneven, and you can see there's a cloud hovering over the guards, if they are guards. There's also the tent doors are open. So, it looks like they weren't really looking after um, what they were meant to be looking after, and someone has come along and premeditated and um, mentally assessed the situation, and has taken from people that weren't really looking after things. So the common term for this card is the theft card, and it could either be someone taking from you, you could be taking from someone, or you're ripping yourself off. Mental stress, mentally worrying, over analyzing all of this, not sleeping properly at night, not running, not regenerating properly. Therefore, you're not running at your optimum during the day. He's wearing the red boots and red hat, which is the color of desire, passion, um, and there's a fur trim around the top of the boots and on the hat, and which connects us to animal instincts. And there's also spots on his outfit, which connects to a cheetah or a leopard. Um, so he's using those animal instincts to make it work in his favor. Um, and if you don't get that help, or you know look for do some research and have that some guidance, or you are ripping yourself off. You will bury yourself in more drama and more mental issues, because he, and this is where he's premeditated everything here, because if he took all the swords, it would have weighed too heavy on his conscience, and then he would have lost everything. So it's just like taking what he needs. He might come back and pick up the other two, you know. So you have to do some research here. You have to maybe uh, go and if you're not sleeping properly at night, go and speak to your doctor. Get some help for insomnia if that's what you're going through. If you are worried sick about something, talk about it with someone. Go and get a tarot reading for a start, to see if there's some insight there that they might suggest reading a book, or going to see a psychologist of some sort to help you work through issues here. If it's worried over relationships, which 80% of readings are about relationships, go and see a marriage counselor. Go and see someone that can help you open the doors slowly to deal with it, and slowly close back those doors. Sometimes unprofessional people out there will just open the doors and can't put you back together. So, be careful with uh, what issues you have. Go and do that research. Go and study something. I love how a lot of people, with people with psychology problems, want to become a psychologist. And, even healers, we heal ourselves when we heal others. Um, and I recommend for all healers to keep getting healings as well, because things could weigh on you, and you don't realize how it shows up. So maybe you're overburdened with too much here, and you think you're being stealth-like, but really this is going to weigh on you if you keep carrying all these woes by yourself. Reassess the situation and do something different. Number eight. Eight is the number of wealth. It's a prosperity number. I love how there's many Asians out there that have lots of eights in their telephone numbers, and their businesses are called 888 car wash, or Rego numbers have lots of eights in them. Um, I believe the 8th of the 8th in China is like Valentine's Day. A lot of people get married on this day. So it's a very auspicious day. So 8 has to do with power, success, you know, business, of course, money, but also your inner wealth and values. And here with the 8 of Swords, first of all, this card always reminds me of the Strength card, because in the Strength card, it is a number 8, and we have the lion that is where, that orange color of the lion. And orange is the color of courage and success and strength and vitality and confidence, these sorts of words. And even though she's bound here, she's still standing. And to me, the scenario that's happening here is she worked really hard to get on top of that hill, and you can see there's a castle on top of that hill. So whether it was career, or maybe she had the home and the family and the house on the hill, but if you see the 5 swords on her left side there, to me they look like a prison cell. Like, yes, she had the position, she had the house, she had the business, but it was a prison for her. And it took a lot of courage for her to leave that position, that home, whatever is that the thing you hold a value on top of the hill. And she's traveled all the way down to this, what looks like a swampy ground. It's not very stable because there's water there, so it's mushy and gluggy, and and she's bound. She has this blindfold on. It's almost like, you don't know which way to go now, left or right. You can't see but it took a lot of courage for you to leave that position. And I like to call this card the acknowledgement card, because every day just we are all, having to find that courage to, like, it's taken me courage to do this on film here. I don't normally like to talk on videos. But I just think that this presentation was too important to let it go, and it only took me 2 years to think of doing this. But I don't really like to talk to the camera like this. I'd prefer to have a class and have everyone participate. But anyway, getting back to the card. So acknowledge, acknowledge, acknowledge. I always think, we need to acknowledge each other more, because it takes a lot for us to do, to keep going. And I always think of that song, I'm Still Standing, by Elton John, because she is standing, even though she's bound. And really the bandages look like they are falling off. Now, there's 2 swords on the right side, which suggests there's more worries in the future. But look how much she's surmounted in the past. She's surmounted 5 swords. Yes, there's 2 held there for the future, more worries to come in the future. But there's only 1 sword in the front, and that's the only hurdle that really she needs to get over or through or around at the moment. And she's still standing. She may not see how she's going to get through it, but she will. And so this person is feeling powerless, and number 8 is all about power. So you need to remind people that, look how far they've come, look what they've achieved, and they'll get through this as well, and to acknowledge them and encourage them, and to keep going. Number 9. 9 is that completion number, the number of responsibility. It connects to the hermit, that wisdom, that knowledge. When we complete something properly, we heal with it, we let it go. So it's that clean up energy. And so here we have the 9 of Swords, and so 9 being that completion number. you can see the swords are going across the card, and once again, there's no tips to the swords. So I always like to say that there's no point in this worrying, because um, 9 is saying that there is a completion to this worry. It's coming to an end. And maybe, once again, the hands over the eyes, still can't see how, but during the night, when we wake up during the night, we always seem to blow things up and out of proportion, because in the daytime, you know that you've blown it up out of proportion. So, be mindful of having a good night's sleep. I think of that because the pink has to do with unconditional love and love of the self, and the blanket in front of them has all the zodiac signs and symbols, and the red roses, and the blue and the red connects us back to the high priestess and the magician again. You've got the power, you've got the insight, the wisdom to get through this. It's horrible going through it, but the 9, that was my cat just throwing things off the table. The 9 tells us that we will get through this. I love how it follows the acknowledgement card of the 8 of Swords. So now we've got the completion with the 9 of Swords. There is an end in sight here, even though you may not feel it. And, waking up during the night, it is worrisome. But there is an end to the worry here. In the woodwork, you can actually see that there's a couple having a sword fight, and one's like winning. He's on top, and he's pointing the sword at the one on the ground. And it's like he's definitely got the point here. Like there is an end to this. There is a resolve to this worry, this stress, this mental burden. It will come to an end. And then we have the number 10 in the tarot. Normally, numerology, 10 goes back to a number 1 again, but the 10 is like a combination of a 1 and 0. So it's like a 1 plus. It's, going on another level, a renewal of some sort, a new beginning on another level. And this is what the 10 of Swords gives us. The matter is dead, gone, finished, because you can see the man is dead, and he's doing the sign of peace with his right arm, the right side being the conscious side. He's aware that it's over, and you can see all the blood or the life force flowing out of him. So, and the water behind him is calm. There's not a ripple. It suggests that there's nothing left to be said here. It's all done. This is the matter is at peace. Rest in peace. And you can see the dark cloud is lifting, it's breaking apart, and you've got the new sun, the new day, the new dawn coming through. Again, this card connects me to the death card, because the king's dead on this side of the river, and there's the sun shining on the other side of the river. And 10 is that new beginning, that recycle, that re what word am I trying to say? That renewal on the other side. And maybe the matter is at rest here. It's finished here. I love how the swords are going along his chakras, and the one in the heart is in the furthest. But it's dead, gone, and dusted. Maybe this person is like there's nothing left for him on this side of the river, and there's new life on the other side. Maybe it's suggesting you need to go on some holiday or some R&R, or I have had many clients that want to go and live in New York, or go to England, Europe. It's like the new life, or this new beginning, a transformation will happen for them when they get over there, because there's nothing here for them. There's nothing left for them here. So this is that beautiful card of renewal. It looks horrible, but the matter is definitely done and dusted here. Aces. So I always like to read the aces after the tens. Aces to me are like a number 11. They, that we're looking at the biggest sword, wand, cup, and pentacle. The Ace of Pentacles, for example, it's a full-blown garden. It's not the beginning of a garden. Aces are not new beginnings. These cards are like total triumphant, total success. That Ace of Pentacles garden is in full bloom. It's manicured. It's you've got the lilies and the roses, and the archway is totally covered. Um, so they're full on success. So if we look at the sword, all the other minor arcana swords, they're troublesome, with this mental stress and burnout and worries and overanalyzing. But with this card, there can't be any burden with this card. You can see the tip of the sword is in the picture here. The sword is straight up and it's piercing through the crown. The crown represents the ego. There's no doubt here. There's no confusion with this card. I like to think of this Ace of Swords as Excalibur, or as um, oh, um, Zorro had a sword, and uh, and who else? The Musketeers. It also connects to the Justice card. It's just this clarity of thought, clarity of communication. It's clear, it's precise, it's concise. Um, you might have woken up still confused in the morning, but by the end of the day, that trip switch went off, and like a guillotine, and you just bang, you make up your mind. And we've got yods here as well, which are extra blessings from the universe. The hand of Mercury, the hand of God. It's white, it's pure, it's the right conscious, active masculine energy. Usually there's a halo around it as well. It's like glowing. Um, and then we've got the palm leaf, which suggests victory, that you've made a decision, you're happy with that decision, and also the olive branch, which suggests you're at peace with this decision. You're happy that you made a decision, and you're at peace with it. So very clear, very concise. Uh, you know, Whatever the issue is, you've broken through here. There's um, you've cut the crap out of your life with this card, basically. Pages. So pages in the tarot represent the beginning stage. They're babies. They're the newbies on the block. They might have all the ideas, but they don't know what to do with it because they don't have money. They don't have the knowledge, the experience to know what to do next. But they're, um, you know, pages, the Page of Swords, we're looking at the new idea. You can see he's holding the sword and the tip of the sword is not in the picture. And he's not even looking at it. He doesn't even know what to do with it or what it is yet. But the potential is there because he's wearing that violet top, and it's the same violet color as the veil behind the Justice card. So, these air children have the potential to become the top 20%, the doctors, the lawyers, the judges, the decision makers, the editors, the strategists, the generals in the army. But as a child, they're very cheeky. These are the ones that say the naughty word and run away, or they kick you and laugh, or make jokes at you. I mean, look at him. He's on top of this mound. He looks like he's appeared ready for a challenge. He's wearing the red boots, so typical child. Uh, they want instant gratification. They don't think about things. They just want um, that lolly, or that toy position, whatever the idea is. His head is in the cloud, and there's birds there, and there's no formation. They're like just flying around. lots of clouds in the background, and there's the wind blowing. You can see the trees are blowing over, and his hair's up in the air. He just has no idea. He's higher than what the blue mountains are in the background. He thinks he's all that, but the mountains, normally in the tarot card, you always see people looking towards the mountain or striving to climb their mountain. He thinks he's on top of the mountain already, but he's only at that beginning stage. So he represents the new ideas coming through, maybe a new form, a new way of doing things, but it's still in the thought form. You may not even be talking about it yet. It's still in that thinking, on that mind level. Knights in the tarot represent the action stage, and they're all wearing armor. They're all ready for battle. They're all sitting on their horse going somewhere. The Knight of Swords. So we've got action. So, pages of the beginning stage, you've got the new idea. The knight is the point of action, movement. It's traditionally they're seen as very masculine, but the knights can also represent females as well. Like you're moving in your job, or you're presenting um, your presentation. There's action, movement um, in happening. And so here we have the Knight of Swords. He looks very scared. The horse looks very scared as well. Once again, he's flying against the wind. And we've got those ominous clouds there as well. And the scary thing is he's got pointed shoe, pointed toe, and a spur, and that looks very scary. He's got feathers off his helmet. There's birds, butterflies on the reins of the horse, and the horse actually looks like he's totally in midair. He's flying. So we could see here someone who's a high flyer, or whatever they're working on. Their idea is there is definitely movement. But again, the birds are not in any formation, and the clouds are very striking and ominous. And so there's a big warning with this card to slow down, because you could fall off your bike. You're not aiming for something, you're just rushing around. But once again, it depends on what the reading is about, because if your house was on fire, you'd want someone to rush to you this quickly as well. So, be mindful of that. But really, again, the tip of the sword is not in the picture. He could get a speeding ticket here. You need to slow down and think about what you're doing, and what's the itinerary, what's the agenda, what are you aiming at? That's the gist of this card. Don't just jump from one thing to another. Think about things, research, take your time to do that research. The queens in the tarot cards have to do with reflection stage. So, the queens are all sitting down, and they're all reviewing and reflecting on how far they've come. They've had the idea with the page, they got into action with it with the knights, and now we're reviewing where we're at. What do we need to change, upgrade, tweak, shift before we continue? So this Queen of Swords, I always think of her as a lawyer. She looks very masculine, but look at the sword. It's straight up. The tip of the sword is in the picture. It connects to the Justice card as well. So she could be a lawyer. She could be someone that you go to, because her hand is like she's showing you the way. But she is the only queen that sits totally side on, and that sword is there ready to chop you out if it's all too much for her. We've got butterflies on her crown, on her throne. There's a cherub there as well, and her cloak is made of clouds. The clouds are low on the horizon. They get darker as you go lower. The trees are not so blowy, and there's this one bird flying in the sky. She also has a tassel off her wrists. They're called the Victorian mourning bracelets. Um, I wonder if they connect to Queen Victoria because her king, her prince, died very young. She had 9 children, and I think he died like around 32. Like it was very young, and maybe he was 42. Anyway, something to look up. He was still young, and she loved him so much, and she then wore black um, from then on, and often seen as wearing black um, in a lot of her documentaries that I've seen. But this queen, she definitely is someone that can help you. If she represents you, she's very positive. You're very clear in what you need, what you want, what you're doing. If it's someone, if it's not you, if it's someone around you, it could be, the lawyer or a psychologist or someone that could help you and show you that way. But the real shadow of this card is she could be your nemesis. Like she could be someone you cross swords with. So you have to have a look. Is it you doing your own head in? If so, go and get that help from someone that can show you the way that is clear, that can write that letter for you, whatever that assistance you need. But is she also the one that you're having words with or a hard time with? So uh, be mindful of the Queen of Swords. And then we have the kings in the tarot. So kings represent mastery, they represent achievement, resolution to the situation, to the mental stress, the drama, whatever it is that you're going through. So with the King of Swords here, his whole sword is in the picture, but it's resting. It's like there's no action. I think he's still involved, but it's, he's not like the knight that he has to like get up and go with it all. You can see there's two swords, sorry, two birds, um, uh, and there's also the lovers over his right shoulder, the twins there. The clouds are softer, are fluffier. There's no breeze. He's more in charge. It's a beautiful soft blue. I love that magenta is there as well, that the knowledge. We've still got butterflies and moons here as well. But the one thing that I sort of go about, like warning, is the ground where he's sitting upon. It's still uneven. It's still all over the place. So, this king to me always reminds me to get it in writing or get clear with what decision is made, or because the air is here and he can change his mind, but overall there's a resolution to this matter. You're on top of this matter. You're clear with things. You've got it in writing. You've learnt along the way. He sort of stands by his sword. Whatever he says goes. So very, very successful energy. So in conclusion, what have the suit of swords shown us here? So when we have a question, or when we're at that crossroads, or when we have a dilemma and we don't know which way to go, this is, like I've said before, the best time to have a tarot reading. And the tarot readings gives us the insights and the answers, therefore the answers to possibly healing our mental disorders and conflicts should also be found in the tarot. And we've seen many examples whilst we've gone through the sword deck here today. In many of my readings, I have often suggested to clients to seek professional advice. And it's so much easier to offer this advice today. 30 years ago when I was starting to do tarot readings, I was thinking, oh, this person needs to go and get help, but I didn't know how to say it. It was hard to say it, but today I say it, And most of the time, everyone already says, I'm already seeing someone. So, which is great. And I acknowledge them how it takes a lot of courage to go and see someone and open up to them like that. People are even sharing on social media, I find, which is a relief because other people join in and they see that they're not alone, that everyone's got a different viewpoint or understanding or a technique or support to resolve problems, issues, whatever. Um, and there's no rush to do it. It will take everyone's at their own pace. Everyone goes at their own pace and to resolve the situation, and it's like that. Going back to my Taekwondo analogy of doing that basic training of Taekwondo or going to the gym, you know, gym is a relief, a stress relief for many people. It helps us to tune up and keep in shape and, take that extra energy edge off. It's also interesting as we went through the cards how many offered us the ups and downs of life, the positive and negative viewpoints, and these duality ups and downs of life are continuously happening around us, to us, from us, at the same time every day. And how many times we mentioned about getting into balance and that we always have choices no matter what we do. And this is what I think the tarot truly gives us, opening ourselves up to seeing more choices, therefore being able to make more balanced and powerful decisions for our lives. The Swords card also suggested to give yourself time to go within, listen to your inner guidance, get to know your inner values, to spend that quality time with your inner world and allow that some time to heal. Also spend time with people out there that may guide you, like your loved ones, through to a guru or, doing meditation and yoga classes. I would also like to add how therapeutic tarot classes and tarot readings can be. People getting together, listening to each other. Sometimes it's easier for people to talk to a complete stranger. So that's it. That's my Tarot Swords presentation that I wanted to share. And I do have here the Excalibur sword spread and asking the Ace of Swords a question. And here is the spread. Now you're only going to use the Ace of Swords, sorry, the swords suit. So pull all the swords cards out of your deck, and you can see the handle part at the bottom. Cards 1, 2, and 3 representing the past, the present, and the future. On the bottom is card number 4, representing our unconscious self, our ideas within. So cards on the bottom are always like going on the inner side, checking in what's there. And then as we move up, card position number 5, 6 and 7 gives us clarity to the question. 5 is what is it? What do we need to do? Gives us a clue on what needs to happen. Number 6 is like the next step through to the tip of the sword, which is the point or the actual outcome of the spread. So thank you for listening to me today. Please have fun with this spread. I hope you make more powerful distinctions as you go through your tarot experience as we deal with life, as we deal with our own mental health, and I hope you find lots of peace of mind as we move through those issues. I big sword energy. I love it. If you're interested in learning tarot, my classes run for 6 to 8 months. That includes holiday times and time out through the public holidays, whatever they can be throughout the course. I run some classes in my shop as well as on Zoom. Just subscribe to my monthly newsletter. It comes out on the 1st of every month. On my website, tarotinaction.com.au. There's subscribe to my newsletter there. That's where I list all my classes, dates and times. And when something strikes with you that you'd like to learn or get into a little bit more, just email me and I'll send you the booking in information. That's how I like make a connection with you and how I like to do it. So I'm also on social media, of course. I've got a Facebook page called Tarot in Action, and I've also got a Facebook group where I put lots of tarot memes and have a bit of fun with tarot. I'm on Instagram as well and LinkedIn. So on Instagram, I'm Tarot in Action, and on LinkedIn, I'm Ruana Marisa Gal. I'm also on Blue Sky as well. And that's enough. It takes, working on social media is uh, it's work for me. It's not just, having fun. I've also, my latest project is the Healers and Psychics Directory. So I've actually been gifted a new job of creating a directory because I found a lot of my students have their own businesses already. They're all masseurs or hairdressers or through to accountants and doctors and but they all so I created this directory which is a powerful SEO site which will help you get yourself out there in social media a little bit more. So it's I've always said, guess what your reward is for doing a good job, a bigger job. So, and to me, updating my website, it's like I'm updating the directory at the same time all the time as well. So have a look, check it out, get on there. Love to see you. Leave some feedback for this video as well. I've got other videos that I've been putting on YouTube and on my website here for many years now. I hope you get something out of it. Let us know if you have. I would love to hear from you there and see you at the next one. Thank you for listening today. Bye.